everyone, Mayank here, and in this video we're going to talk about some basic stuff related to arrays. Basically, we are just going to see that how user defined elements are going to stored in an array and how you're going to do this stuff. Okay, so let me just write the code over here. Let me just say that from array import and then everything. Okay, so this is a module and we'll talk about module in our further videos. For now, you can just take it as important to declare an array. Okay, so this line is important to declare an array and you must write this line if you want to play with array. Okay, so here I have an array as Mayank, and this array is basically of type, let's say, integer. And to make it a type of integer, what we want to do is we want to use the type code I. Okay, so I will just use this type code I, and over here you can say it's a type code and my type code is I. Okay, so it's a integer type code. Okay, so now we are going to press the values like 23 and all and all and all. Okay, but over here user is going to define the value, so I will be leaving this part as it is. Okay, so now what I want is I want to make an array with the help of user, and this array is of type integer. This array can be of type characters as well, floating as well, but over here for the sake of simplicity I took integer. Okay, so now what you want is you want the length of array and you want the elements of array. So first we'll talk about the length. So what we'll do is we'll call the user, we'll talk with the user like please give us the length of array. And so here we'll use input and then we'll say that enter the length of array. So now user will be entering the length of array and we'll be storing that value in the n. Okay, so I got the value of I can say length in n. Okay, but over here you can see clearly that the input is not in the form of integer. So to convert this in the form of integer, like input is initially in the form of character, I can say that string. And to convert this string into an integer, you have to use this parenthesis and then int over here. Okay, so I hope you know about this concept. So now what I will do is I will be using a for loop because I want to assign the values for each and every index. And to assign the values for each and every index, we want to use the for loop, which is going from 0 to, let's say, n, or I can say n minus 1. Okay, so the best way to do this is to use this for loop. You can also use while loop, but again that is really complex to use while loop. So I love for loop, so I will be using for loop. You can use while loop, that depends on you. Okay, so there is no restriction on that. So here I can say that for I, and the initial value of I will be 0, and this value will be going from I, that is 0 till range, that is n. Okay, so over here my value of I is going from 0 to n minus 1 because in range n is excluded and n minus 1 is included. Okay, so if you don't know anything about this as well, you can watch the previous videos related to for loops and all, so you can understand about this over there. Okay, so now what I'll do is I will be just writing this line over here and I will be explaining you this. Just wait a minute. Enter the value. Okay, so you can clearly see I'm telling the user to enter the value. The number of times this loop will be like implemented, this line will be printed. Okay, so enter the value, enter the value, enter the value. Okay, so now let me just write on this code to make it clear with this. So you can see over here I have the enter the length of array, and if I say that length is 3, so I'm getting enter the length, enter the value, enter the value, enter the value for 3 times. Okay, so this is gonna print for n number of times. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to store the value of x. Okay, but this value is again stored in the form of string. To convert in the form of integer, I will be using this int over here, and I will be just closing this from here. Okay, so now I got the value of x, but I don't need the value of x. I need to store this value in the array. Okay, so to store something in an array, we use something called as append. And if you don't know anything about append, then you must watch the first videos because I have already covered this in our 02 or 03 video. So I'm not going to talk about that now. Okay, so well, basically we use append to add new values inside an array. Okay, so we can say my array is Mayank and dot append. Okay, so let me just append, and then I want to append the value of x. Okay, so here I can say x. Okay, so now what will be going inside this program, the value, when the value of, let me just write in this code to make it clear again. When the computer asking that enter the length of array, let me just enter 5 over here, and then over here enter the value. Okay, so if I say the value is 1, then this value is stored in this Mayank. Okay, when x is 1, when I is 0, so over here I can say that Mayank dot append x is stored in I 0, or I can say that at index value 0. Okay, so the first value of index will, I can say the first value of array will be 1. Okay, similarly the second value will be 2, third value will be 3, fourth value will be 4, and fifth value will be 5. Okay, so here you can see I'm getting the 5 values. But now if I ask you that what is the index value of fourth element, then I can say that what is the index value of this. Okay, so it's 3, not 4. Okay, because index value is going from 0 to 4, not 1 to 5. Okay, so you have to clear with this concept that index value is going from 0 to 4 and our values are from 1 to 5. Okay, so it's clear. So now we have stored the value of the array, like we got all the values. What I will do next, I will be searching for an element. Let's say I want to search that this element is inside this array or not. Let's say 14 is inside my array or not. If you want to check this thing, you can also do that, but before that, let me just print this array so that you can be clear that I'm not teaching the wrong concepts. Okay, so now if I try to run this code, you can see over here I am getting the length of array, let's say 3, and the values are 1, 2, 3. So I'm getting the array of type integer 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's all what I want, but I want to check that whether the number is existing inside this array or not. And if the number is existing, then what's the index value of that number? We have to find that as well. So what we can do for that is, some teachers say that you can use another variable equal to 0 and all, but I will be not using that concept. I will be directly solving this concept. Okay, so what I will be doing is I will be using a if else loop and a for loop. Okay, so if else and for loop. Okay, so I can say that I'm using for else and if. Okay, so I know you will be not able to understand anything for now, but let me just use this for loop over here, and I will say that I in range, and let's say n. Okay, so instead of I, you can use any other thing over here as well. Let me just take it as j to make you clear that I is not important every time. Okay, so now what I will be doing is I will be saying that for j in range and then I. Okay, so this loop is going to be executed from 0 to n minus 1. Okay, so if n is 3, then this loop is going to be executed from 0 to 2. Okay, so depending on the value of n, this loop is going to execute. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to check that whether the number is equals to the number inside our array or not. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll check one by one that if and then Mayank for index value, let's say j equal to x. I can say that, oh, we have to first take the value, like what value we have to check. So let me just take it as z int, and I'll be asking user that what value you want to search for. Okay, so let me just say that enter the value you wish to see. Okay, so now user will be having the power to enter the value, and this value is stored in z. Okay, so I will be checking that whether the number is equal to z or not. Okay, so जैसे जैसे लूप इटरेट होगा हमारे पास अलग अलग इंडेक्स वैल्यूज के हिसाब से अलग अलग वैल्यू आएगी, और इस वैल्यू के करस्पॉन्डिंग हम चेक करेंगे क्या है वैल्यूज दैट के बराबर है या नहीं. ठीक है, और इस तरीके से लूप हमारा इटरेट होता रहेगा. ठीक है, और जिस पोजीशन पे हम कहते हैं यार हमारा जो ये वैल्यू है, यहाँ पर हम एक और यूज कर लेते हैं. ओके, सो हम सेमीकोलन शायद यूज नहीं करते हैं पता नहीं, चेक करेंगे. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर हम क्या करेंगे, अब हम यहाँ पर हम लिखते हैं यार के प्रिंट जे. ओके, हम यहाँ पर जे क्यों लिख रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमें पता चल गया यार ये जो नंबर हमारे को दिया है ये प्रेजेंट है. ठीक है, तो ये कहाँ पर प्रेजेंट है तो हमें पता चलेगा उसके इंडेक्स वैल्यू जो कि हमारा जे. ठीक है, तो जे यहाँ पर इंडेक्स वैल्यू की तरह काम करे तो हम यहाँ पर जे प्रिंट करा देंगे. ठीक है, तो उसके बाद हम वापस से क्या लूप को एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे, नहीं करेंगे तो हम यहाँ पर यूज कर देंगे सिंपली ब्रेक. ओके, सो ब्रेक क्या करेगा, ब्रेक यहाँ पर इस लूप को रोक देगा. ठीक है, तो ये तो वही बात यार, अगर हमारे पास वो एलिमेंट प्रेजेंट है तो वो एक एक करके चेक करेगा, और एलिमेंट प्रेजेंट नहीं होगा तो वहां पर हमें एलिमेंट प्रेजेंट होगा तो वहां पर हमें आउटपुट मिल जाएगा. ठीक है, उस एलिमेंट का इंडेक्स नंबर. बट व्हाट इफ द एलिमेंट इज नॉट प्रेजेंट इनसाइड दिस एरे, इन दिस केस व्हाट वी विल बी डूइंग इज वी विल बी यूजिंग एल्स ओवर हियर. बट जैसे ही आप यहाँ पर एल्स यूज करते हो और मैं यहाँ पर अगर लिखता हूँ प्रिंट नॉट फाउंड, तो आपको यहाँ पर एक बहुत खतरनाक सी चीज दिखेगी जब मैं इसे रन करता हूँ. लेट्स से यहाँ पर मेरे पास एक एरे है. Let me just take the length of array is 3 for the sake of simplicity and time. Okay, so यहाँ पर 3 वैल्यू है, और enter the value you wish to see. Okay, so let me just wish to see 9 over here. Okay, so जब मैं यहाँ पर 9 प्रेस करता हूँ, यहाँ पर आता है not found इतनी सारी बार. यार ये हर एक इटरेशन के बाद मुझे नॉट फाउंड दे रहा है, पर मुझे तो खाली एक ही बार चेक करना है नॉट फाउंड है या नहीं. ठीक है, तो इस केस में हम क्या करेंगे, हम सिंपली इस नॉट फाउंड को यहाँ नहीं लिखेंगे, हम फॉर नॉट फाउंड यूज करेंगे, है ना, मतलब फॉर एल्स लूप यूज करेंगे हम लोग बेसिकली. और अगर आपको फॉर एल्स लूप के बारे में नहीं पता तो मैं आपको यहाँ पर सिंपली बता सकता हूँ कि यार हमारा फॉर लूप अगर एग्जीक्यूट नहीं हो रहा है, हमारे फॉर लूप में अगर कोई भी वैल्यू प्रिंट नहीं हो रही, तो सिंपली हम यहाँ पर एल्स यूज करेंगे. ठीक है, जैसे हम इफ एल्स यूज करते हैं वैसे फॉर एल्स होता है. ठीक है, नहीं पता तो अभी जान लो, है ना. तो यहाँ पर अगर हम लिखते हैं प्रिंट एंड देन वी से दैट नॉट फाउंड, अब क्या होगा, अब जब मैं इसे रन करता हूँ तो ये चीज एक ही बार रन होगी बजाय बार बार प्रिंट होने से. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर मैं मानता हूँ यार 3, एंटर द वैल्यू 1, एंटर द वैल्यू 2, एंटर द वैल्यू 3. सो आई गॉट द एरे एज integer 1 to 3. okay, so अगर अब मुझे चेक करना है like 0, so 0 is not present inside the array, so यहाँ पर एक ही बार आ रहा है not found. okay, वैसे ही अगर मुझे चेक करना है यार एक ऐसा एलिमेंट जो प्रेजेंट है, तो let me just take the array of length 5, value is 1, 4, 8, 3 and then 9. okay, so I got the array of length 5 and integer type. okay, so now if I want to check the index value of 9, okay, I want to check whether 9 is available or not. So you can clearly see 9 is available at the index value 4. So if I try to in this code, you can see I'm getting the index value as 4. okay, so that's what I want. okay, so that's all about array and how you can store the array values with the help of user. okay, so that's all for now. Thanks for watching this video. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye.